training partners. Here come your training partners. So smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners.
Welcome to Training Partners, where two fitness professionals bring you strong takes held loosely. I'm Weezy Shoemaker, and I'm joined by Justin McClintock. And today we will be bringing you a very strong take. But first, I'm going to let Justin shoot the shit with me for a little bit.
That's really all I want to do. That's the entire point. This podcast is a subtle way for me to hang out with a buddy at least once a week and talk about some stuff, and we'll call it a professional enterprise.
Right. What shit are we shooting?
Well, before we started talking, you had mentioned you had a bunch of rain that was really loud. You were worried it was going to potentially interfere with the recording.
Yeah.
I discovered yesterday, I think, that I need to backtrack a tiny bit. I've been in my house, my new house in Providence, for about 6 weeks. Part of our offer terms were leave anything you want. If you don't want to move things out, we'll take care of it. There was a bunch of junk in the garage and other stuff. There's some gorgeous shelves and cabinets. There's a huge leather couch, a really interesting like 1908, 1909 kitchen table, and several TVs and speaker setups. Like nice TVs, far nicer than that we had. I set the TV up in my living room, and it has like a little sound bar and a subwoofer and like some cool speakers. I turned them on and was playing a video game. And as part of the video game, there was a sound effect, like a dun, something really dramatic happened. Right. My dog lost his mind because he thought it was thunder. My dog really doesn't like thunder or fireworks, which I think is typical. But because of that, I'm now not allowed to turn on the subwoofer.
That's fair. That is one thing that your dog, remind me your dog's name.
Baloo.
Baloo, like the bear.
Exactly like the bear.
That is something that Baloo and Betty do not have in common because, in fact, she cannot hear or see much of anything.
That's right. I forgot Betty was slightly deaf. Yeah.
It's not slightly.
It makes things easier. When my last dog, my last dog died when she was like 12 or 13. She was a really old dog. The last 4 or 5 years, she went like a bit deaf, and it made everything so much easier. Like she didn't get startled when people came to the door. Like light thunder would happen, and she just wouldn't hear it. Like her world got a little smaller and a little quieter, and she became far more manageable. Sure.
Betty is a little like Mr. Magoo in that she'll register that there is noise happening. Like, so we have a pretty decent plot of land. We've got a 1/2 acre, and she'll be at the back of the yard, and you'll call her, and she'll know that she was called, but not from where.
Oh my goodness.
And so it just becomes like this kind of chaotic, like, where is the noise coming from? There have been a few times that we've been in the yard and have called her, and she thinks that we're in the house, and she'll run back door to back door. Like, where's the person? Where's it coming from? So it definitely makes for an adventure. That's for sure.
I feel like I would start second guessing when I wanted to actually call the dog.
Right.
Well, how much trouble is this going to be?
Right.
Like inviting that friend to the bar, be like, I haven't seen him in a while, but I don't know if I'm in for this kind of work today. I think I'm going to take the easy way and I'll go to his place and see him, and that's fun.
Right. Yeah. That's Betty.
That's so cute. Does Betty only have one ear? Am I remembering that correctly?
No, she has 2 massive ears. Like you can see them from space. And she has one fully formed eye.
One eye.
And the other one, like she has the eye structure itself, but none of the like corneal retina. Like they are pretty confident she can't see anything at all over here.
Right.
So,
which also would lead to a bunch of spinning and turning and whipping her head around, I would guess.
Right. She, or like occasionally she'll like run into furniture or walls. It is funny.
Baloo does that because he gets so excited and will whip his head around. But because his head is so fucking gigantic, he doesn't notice. More than once, I've seen him whip his head into a fire hydrant, and it makes a dong. And he just keeps looking around like, hey, did you guys hear that noise? I think something happened. I feel like this can't be good. I mean, he's never been the smartest guy, so I don't know if he's getting dumber. But it's astounding just watching him whack things and not even shake it off, act like it didn't even happen.
Right. Hilarious. Hilarious. We don't deserve dogs.
Exactly. Dogs number one, people a distant second.
Right. So as of this live moment, people don't actually know that you're the co-host if they're following me. I've been
fair.
talking about a podcast is coming, and I put something out on social media of who do you think my host is? And several people said Fat Cat, who is my very fat cat, who is named Fat Cat.
Right.
Several people said Snoop Frog, who is the new frog that we've inherited.
Newly coined.
And then several people said Betty. You do realize none of these are plausible.
You got 0 human guesses?
A few people said Ted.
Okay. Yep. Who I
Nobody.
noticed, I don't want to like dox anyone, but just started following me yesterday.
Wow.
I know. I saw it and I was like,
Okay.
I wonder where this. But it was like,
Huh.
it started following you. I was like, okay.
Okay.
I'm making it.
Cool.
Making
Wow.
some waves here.
Big moves.
Yeah.
I think the only other person in like our kind of fitness realm that he connects with is Chris.
Sure. That makes sense. Because they work together, right?
They did. He was his coach for about 8 months.
Yep. Chris Shallow. Brilliant.
Brilliant. Incredible. Very grateful to him in many ways.
Well, I'm excited to be a reveal to your social followers and understanding that I'm a distant fourth to Betty and Fat Cat and Snoop Frog, who might be more compelling, but they don't own microphones, which I think was really what got me the leg up on this one.
Well, right. And I don't think any of them have the thumb dexterity to also edit anything meaningful. So
very reasonable. Yeah. Well, shall we get into what ostensibly we're supposed to be here for?
Let's do it.
Great.
So today we're here to talk about gym etiquette. And I'm so excited to dive into some like truly disgusting scenarios. So
should we, not to derail things, should we explain to people how we're doing this, how we're setting this up?
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea.
So the concept as it stands, and if you're listening to this, you're listening to episode 1, or at least the first episode we recorded. I guess this might not be episode 1. Mm-hmm. But the idea we had is that one of us is sort of going to present to the other, like on a subject, thought, modality, idea, whatever, a thing that we want to talk about and kind of present it, lay it on the other person. It can be an ongoing discussion, but other than knowing we're talking gym etiquette, I don't really know where we're going, which is exciting.
I could go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to go into gym etiquette. So perhaps not shockingly, there is little published research related to gym etiquette. There's a lot on Reddit, which I love and will gladly use if we want to use anonymous feedback. But for the purpose of today's conversation, my research pool was the people who follow and engage with me on Instagram. And many of those people are gym goers themselves. So we're not talking about people who are completely uninformed. But I put out a question on Instagram a few weeks ago for folks to share their gym etiquette, good, bad, and ugly. And we got some stuff. We got some real stuff.
Fantastic.
So my goal for this, for folks, would be 1, that it's horrifying and entertaining, and 2, can serve as a ledger for people who are genuinely not sure how to act at the gym. Hey, is my behavior up to snuff? Or maybe you know somebody whose behavior is not up to snuff. This is maybe an excellent podcast to send them.
This might be an important share for some people.
Right.
Out there.
This might be an important share. So of the many examples that my kind Instagram followers submitted, things fell into a few categories. I'd like to read you the categories and then you're going to decide where we start.
Yeah,
Fair?
Let's do it.
Okay. Category 1, cleanliness and courteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Category 2, distractions and safety issues. Category 3, movement itself. Category 4, poor coaching. And category 5, unnecessary contact.
Ooh, boy. Are we definitely doing all of these? And I get to pick where we start?
We're definitely going to talk about all of them.
Great. In that case, I think starting with distractions.
Yeah, perfect. So from a distraction perspective, things really fell into 2 subcategories. One of them being noise, which can maybe fall into noise or lack of noise. Playing music without headphones came up a number of times, right? Like I don't want to generalize and say bro, but gym bro or gym girl.
Yeah, I think we can generalize. I mean, come on.
Like, I don't need to hear your Kendrick Lamar out loud, right? Also, adjacent to this is there's a number of people who work out in a gym environment, like a corporate gym environment that also has classes where maybe the class plays music way louder than it needs to be. Let me work out.
This is a huge problem.
Right. Another that came through from coaches themselves, which I found really interesting because I've encountered this and I'm curious if you have as well, wearing headphones in a group class.
Madness. So
Madness.
I have one exception to this, which
Okay.
I think you'll get. But
Yep.
generally, like I've coached, and I know you have too, thousands of group classes, and only a few times have I had to make someone take headphones off.
Sure.
The one exception I had was I was coaching an Olympic lifting club, and I had a member who was significantly autistic and came to me and mentioned that in that room, it's a loud place, all the dropping weights, plus we played like jamming tunes, and it's a stimulus heavy environment.
Right.
And they basically asked, may I wear my noise canceling headphones so I can get this work done? 100%. High five. Thanks for asking. A couple people would ask me like, hey, why is so-and-so wearing? I said, oh, it's noise canceling. It helps them focus. Instantly okay. I don't know if there was white noise or music or if it was just the noise canceling feature turned on, but that's the exception.
Right.
Like, if you're in a situation where ostensibly you're being instructed or coached or guided or something, and you have headphones in, like, why are you even here? What are you doing? Right.
There is, I think, one other exception to this. And really, I think you bring up an important point, which is the communication from the athlete prior, right? If you're an athlete listening to this, coaches are generally going to be okay with anything that you're going to do so long as you are communicative with it, right? I've had athletes in class who, hey, this is my only opportunity to work out today, and I'm on a big conference call.
Right.
I'm probably not going to get called on, but I need to listen just in case. I'm going to have one in, and I will clearly step away if I need to say something.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Appreciate that. But please don't just roll up in headphones without saying anything.
And the size of headphones, I also think matters to a degree. Like, I don't love it at all, but if I'm like, does that guy have an earbud in? I can't quite tell.
Like versus on one side?
Yeah. Versus the gigantic JBLs that reach all the way out. You're like, what? How are those going to stay on as we start doing burpees, man? I don't know what's going on anymore. Yeah, that's amazing.
So the last noise complaint or etiquette issue that we had submitted was excessive grunting and bar slamming, which we get it. If it's a heavy lift, maybe you need to put it down quickly, but like, you don't need to become Rambo in the process. Like, be cool.
And I think I have a whole thing about this, especially with deadlifts, but we know the eccentric portion of the lift is where you get strongest. We know if you could only do one thing, and the idea is to get stronger, more mobile, build muscle, any of those things, that eccentric portion of the lift is the most important one. It's not the sexiest one. It's the most important one. If you're dropping your deadlifts, you're literally giving up at least 50% of the strength you could be gained off every rep. You're just leaving money on the table. Dropping it for safety, dropping it because you lost control, you lost grip, the bar is overhead and I'm feeling wobbly or something. I can't bring it down safely. Yeah, totally. I get it. Ideally, you're in an environment where it's safe to do that. But that people who slam everyone, I think it's learned. I think they just like watch pros do it in competition and are like, oh, that's how you deadlift.
That's how you do it. Right. Can you explain for anybody who's listening who maybe the word eccentric does not mean anything to them? What does that mean to you?
Totally fair. Usually it's the lengthening part or the quote unquote down portion of most lifts. So every lift has a concentric and an eccentric portion. Concentric is the muscle getting shorter. So it's the pushing up from the ground on a squat. It's the pulling your chin up on a pull-up. It's the curl as the dumbbell gets close to your shoulder on a curl. Your muscle is getting shorter. It's the pull. Usually it's the quote unquote work. That's what most people would think of. Oh, I did it. I'm good to go. Eccentric is the other side of that. So it's the lowering of the squat. It's putting the bar down on the deadlift. It's a lowering from that bar on the pull-up. If you do those things slowly, relatively slowly and under control, you will squeeze more juice out of every single rep and literally be more productive and more efficient and more effective.
Right. So effectively, we're saying excessive grunting and bar slamming, particularly when it's related to a deadlift, because that is the like sexy place to do it, right? I've stood up this really heavy dead, let me roar and then slam it on the ground. You're actually leaving strength gains on the table and you're also annoying.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in like, you know, a 24-hour gym or like Globo gym
Right.
environment. It is madness. And you know there's people there who are like just trying to do their stretching routine, which is fine.
Right.
And
Right.
you're making the world a little bit worse.
Right. This is also said as somebody who has absolutely done this. So
yeah, especially
totally.
like overhead stuff.
Yeah.
I have slammed bars in celebration and exploded chalk buckets and dramatic, embarrassing things. 100%. I bet there's nothing we say that we haven't at least tangentially been involved in.
I think you're going to regret that comment.
Okay. All right. Many disclaimers coming.
So the other part of distractions and safety issues is just safety itself. And this next one came up 7 different times. Dropping dumbbells.
Oh my God. Yep.
Right. Particularly like if it's not a hex dumbbell, maybe it's a rounder dumbbell and you're at a Globo gym and you drop them at the end of, let's say, an incline curl and they roll and hit somebody else.
My little spiel I always tell people is that we always put dumbbells down out of control because dumbbells roll and bounce and they never find your toes. They always find someone else's toes. You've dropped dumbbells on your own toes? That was dumb. I hope you don't get hurt. I don't want anyone to break a toe. But they always go and find other people or get in the way or cause someone to do something and trip or, control it. Just put it down.
Right. And then the last distraction safety issue that came up was walking directly at, in front of, or behind an active weightlifter.
Yes. Are we talking weightlifting in general, like moving a barbell or?
So this came up in a couple different contexts. From the context of Olympic weightlifting, right? Walking directly in the sight line of somebody who's actively in their lift. This one is a more subtle one that maybe if you had not been told, you would not know that. But that is absolutely a safety concern because if it's really heavy and they've got to run forward to catch it, is that the best form? But you're about to get wrecked.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a safety thing here and there's an etiquette thing here.
Right.
And safety thing first, if you're too close to someone, especially behind them, but if because they don't know you're there, it's very hard to blame them if they bail on a barbell and you're 2 feet behind them. Giving people a wide berth so they can like have that little field of failure is really important. The etiquette thing is that has to be learned. And honestly, I go a little back and forth on this, which is a very unpopular opinion. Traditionally, Olympic lifters are like, everything gets really quiet when they're lifting and they focus and they have their focus point. And if anything happens, it's going to be a huge distraction because it's a super technical, super fast, super heavy movement. I will never forget watching I believe it's the 2012 Summer Games and watching weightlifting because I was aware of some of the competitors and I was excited. Most of that crowd was not a weightlifting crowd. They were an Olympics crowd. So someone from their country would get called and they're losing their minds and they're screaming and they're cheering and they're all of these things. And the commentators were all like, I can't believe these people are being too loud. Weightlifters traditionally like to focus. And I was like, bro, this is the Olympics. If this is what's going to happen at the Olympics, the absolute pinnacle of the test of this sport, maybe we should train for this. I also think, and this is even more unpopular, that part of the reason Olympic lifting is so uncool is that it's this like old dude, like it's like golf etiquette, but for weightlifting. You go to a powerlifting meet, which has a lot of them have their own problems, but it's like lights and metal music and people are jamming and screaming for people. Well, this is more fun.
Right.
They're doing incredible strength things too. I do think like safety and etiquette are both important. And in an Olympic lifting environment, like figure out the culture, figure out the code, play by the rules, but don't get anywhere near where any kind of weight can get dropped on you if something goes sideways.
Right. And for people in a general gym setting, like if you are in a setting where there's squat racks and people are lifting weight, whether it's back squatting or maybe they're pressing, you should not walk directly in front of or behind that person because you have no idea if they have the capacity for that lift or if they are aware of you.
Yeah, it's a big deal. And I've been in crowded gyms where it's hard to get away from people. You might need to take the long way around. And better to do that than, 2 seconds of mistake turning into something really problematic for you or someone else.
Right. So that's distractions and safety issues. Where are we going next? You need a reminder?
No, I made some notes. Let's do cleanliness.
Oh boy. Okay, here we go.
I have one more thing on music before we go on. I'm interested in your opinion on this. I used to work in a gym where they had a Sonos system or one of those that you could hook your phone up and play music. It was a 24-hour all-access gym that 10 trainers also worked at. It was a little bit of a unique setup. Yeah. I would routinely show up and there was no music. And when I show up and I'm the first trainer in the building, I kind of get it. I don't think members had access. I think only trainers had access to the system. I would kind of just leave music playing, but I'm the first one here. I would show up and 2 or 3 trainers would be working and no one had put music on. And it's this big place and all you hear is not people grunting, just people working. It's breathing and someone slurping out of their water mug. And I would always put music on and people would make fun of me for it sometimes. I don't care what the music is. I need something. This is crazy. Listening to all of you breathing is insane.
If anybody's only listening, you just really missed out on a spread of emotions. That is foul.
Yes. Sign up for the premium video feed, which will be creating some subscription tier for Weezy emotions and expressions.
Golly, if I walk into a gym where there are already other people there and it is silent, I am immediately leaving. That's gonna do it.
It was just creepy.
Even if I plan to have headphones on myself, I then know that everybody else who doesn't is gonna hear me it's not gonna happen. All the sounds
you don't realize you're making.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us. We can go back to onto cleanliness.
This is a derail zone.
Yes. We'll put a little siren light up the pro derailment zone.
Oh gosh. Okay, so cleanliness, courteousness. 3 subcategories. Clean up after yourself, spatial awareness or lack thereof, and then just in quotes, gross.
All right. I'm down.
So in the general clean up after yourself, we had a lot of people who were very feisty about people not re-racking their weights.
Yeah.
Put your shit away. Nothing. Well, there are things that are worse. It's really terrible when you go up to let's say a plate loaded leg press and there's 4 45s on each side. Move your shit. I know that you're strong enough to get it out. Put it away. People felt really strongly about this.
Yeah. It's the endless problem, right? Every gym you've ever been in has a sign somewhere saying re-rack your weights because people don't and people still don't. And I have occasionally, I'm like the nicest, chillest guy in the gym. I just want to flow through when I'm working out. But occasionally I've been like, hey, are you done with this? Oh yeah, I'm done. Okay. I couldn't tell because there's 405 pounds on it. And I'm capable of unloading 405 pounds, but I have clients who aren't. I've absolutely, and even with a leg press machine, I had a client who was 4'8".
Yeah.
And strongish, but would routinely not be able to do exercises because they couldn't safely reach up to unrack weights that someone else had left on a machine.
Ridiculous.
I guess I don't get to use this today. I guess it's not okay. I was it's not your garage gym, bro. Yeah.
That's foul. So if you're going to the gym, please just put your stuff away. If you got it out, put it away. And even if it was racked and you used it, you are still accountable to put it away. This is, for me, it's the gym equivalent of leaving your cart in the middle of the parking lot. Put your stuff away. I think it's
a great analogy. Yeah. The machine should be empty when you walk away from it. There should not be plates loaded on a thing.
Not wiping equipment. And this is something that I went on a little bit of a deep dive on. And so we're going to get really weird. So in January of 2024, the CBC, which is the Canadian Broadcasting Company, swabbed the surfaces of major gym franchises in Canada and found that barbells, dumbbells,
just all maple syrup, just covered.
yoga balls, and all mat surfaces held yeast and bacteria, including staph and MRSA. And the
Sweet.
shower floors included staph, yeast, and mold. And we'll put this study article in the show notes. But disgusting. Number of colony forming units, or CFUs per sample. Dumbbell, about 650. Barbell, about 767, because typically we've got more grooves.
Yeah, more knurling.
Right? Yoga ball, just over 1,000.
Okay.
Mat, almost 9,000.
Wow.
Shower, almost 40,000.
Good God. Okay.
And so what really stuck out to me from this
we're
article,
not in the gross category yet, I notice.
we're not in the gross category,
Okay.
in fact, is yeast, which the comment for that was, hey, somebody likely did not wash their hands after handling something that contained yeast. It probably was not bread dough. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the response from all of these gyms was, we have cleaning policies posted and we're committed to blah, 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 blah. Right. So the study had some other recommendations, because generally speaking, what people are not thinking about is how long and how much disinfectant actually needs to be used and sit for before it actually works.
Yeah.
Particularly if something has grooves to it. Right. So let the disinfectant sit on equipment for the recommended contact time on the label. Spray it directly on the equipment instead of on a paper towel or a cloth first. I see that a lot. Or potentially at a gym where you only have like the moist towelettes. Gross. Spray
And
more than you think you
expensive.
need.
Like it's the wrong move in like 4 different
Right.
ways.
Right. Spray more disinfectant than you think you need, because you actually want to soak up the germs, not just like spread it around. That's why mats are so gross. It's not necessarily because people aren't wiping them down. They're just spreading the nonsense around. Just gross. When wiping off disinfectant, we want to think about physically scooping off the germs with a lot of pressure, like a isn't going to do it. And then 2 things that you're probably actually going to do is wash your hands immediately after working out and before eating or preparing food.
Yes, please.
And for the love of God, wear sandals in the shower. 40,000 CFUs of staph, yeast, and mold. If you have a cut on your foot, you're going to get fungus. Like, wear your flippy floppies. It's not that hard.
Yeah, and I don't believe that most gyms are actually cleaning their barbells and dumbbells regularly.
I mean, we've both worked at gyms. How often did you do that?
Outside of like a deep pandemic,
Yeah.
not. Like,
Right.
we would do a maintenance thing once a year, but even that wasn't
Right.
disinfecting. We'd like be, brushing the chalk out and oiling things and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But it was never about disinfecting.
Right. Right. So that's clean up after yourself. Anything that you'd like
Jesus.
to add?
Just keep doing it and be diligent. And of course, this isn't to scare people. I bet all of these gyms do have cleaning policies that are followed to some degree, and these are still the numbers.
Right.
So if you're not cleaning or come in behind someone who isn't cleaning, those numbers could be way higher. And it's all about dosage, and it doesn't necessarily take much.
Right. Right. Okay, this next subcategory, less about cleanliness, more about being courteous, spatial awareness or lack thereof, hogging machines and stations while on your phone, camping out on the hamstring curl machine and hanging there during your 90-second recovery. Please move.
Yeah, and a little awareness of people around you.
Right.
I was having a chat with the gym owner today, coincidentally, about gym kind of hogging, and he has 2 opinions. He's like, it depends on the machine, man. If it's a barbell loaded thing, I'm squatting or plate loaded thing, pardon me.
Right.
If I'm squatting, leg pressing, whatever, someone asks me how many sets I have left, I'll tell them and say, I think I'm going to be here, I have 3 more sets. I think it's going to be about 10 more minutes. If you're on a selectorized machine where you can just like select the weights,
right.
I have given the information, and the next sentence is, would you like to work in?
Right. Yeah.
And you get out of the way, because it's so easy to change a weight. Even if you're like changing the pad position or something, it's 30 seconds to get in.
Right.
They can start working. 30 seconds to switch back to you. And it's very easy. Looking around a little and noticing the person who's kind of waiting for
Lingering.
the machine they need
Right.
to open up is important.
Right. I have had this happen a number of times where I will want to work in with somebody who is on a traditional machine, right?
Mhm.
Like a cable something.
Sure.
And rather than asking really clearly, which is an area of opportunity for me, rather than saying, hey, can I work in with you? Saying, hey, are you using this? When they're clearly taking a rest break nearby to it. And then the answer is like, yeah, okay, cool. That's great.
No more questions, Your Honor.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So next up in spatial awareness or lack thereof, bringing your huge ass duffel with you.
Yes. Gigantic gym bag gear
Right.
bros.
Right. It might be full of equipment that you require, and it also is totally unnecessary to you right where you are for all the things.
Exactly. And I have a little sympathy for people who they take their workout really seriously. They have some stuff going on. Like, well, I need my elbow pads when I'm doing this. And I want my knee wraps because I'm doing this heavy. And suddenly you have 10 different pieces of equipment and they're really special belt and all of that. But if it's in the way, you're fucking up. Like, if there's a way for you to bring all of that and keep it contained, and or what I will often do is if I'm bringing stuff, because I'll occasionally bring like, I did RDLs the other day and I brought straps. I wanted to go heavier than my grip was going to allow me to go.
Right.
I put my bag with all of that stuff over in a cubby or over in my locker.
Right.
I went and retrieved the gear I needed, put it on, used it, put it back.
Right.
As opposed to, because there's not that much room in the gym I was working in, and even a bag at the bench I was at would be a tripping hazard and in the way.
Right. Right. What people also, I think, don't realize is that gym liability policies often do not cover other people's stuff. And so particularly like if you're in a boutique gym space, a CrossFit gym, a small group training studio, that's actually an occupational hazard. And in the group classes that I still teach, that's a consideration that we have to make, particularly in the winter or in a day where there's a lift where people maybe have lifters and then a different pair of shoes to change into. Hey, if somebody trips over your stuff and breaks an ankle, that's actually not covered under gym liability policy, and you are then liable.
Yeah, that's a huge, I don't think anyone knows that. I'm glad you brought that up. But the idea that could happen and it's the individual's responsibility, I think would be a big surprise to a lot of people.
Right. The next two are absolutely pet peeves of mine, and so I'm glad that they came up. Doing your work directly in front of the communal weight storage.
Yeah, fired. Get out of the gym. You're not allowed anymore.
I cannot stand this. There's this one dude at the gym that I go to that every time he's there, he's doing lat raises, and it's like in front of the 5 to 17 and a half. Yep. Nobody's going to need those for the next 12 minutes, I guess. It's
completely ridiculous. Or another classic is the dude's doing heavy rows, and so they're using they're using the 120s, and they put one hand on the dumbbell rack, and they're doing the rows there. And you're like, bro, like I know it's heavy. You can put it on the ground and roll it away, and hold on to a bench or any other stable thing, but no one can get to the weight, and no one can get by you at so many of these gyms. Like. You've actually halted traffic in multiple directions now.
Yeah, big pet peeve. I'm glad you agree.
Yeah, completely.
And then this one, I'm shocked that we even have to bring it up at all, but it continues to come up for folks. Walking through or over someone's station to either do or get to your work. Mm-hmm. I had one person in particular say that she was on the ground doing some supine, meaning lying on her back, core work, closed her eyes. And when she opened them, there was somebody stepping over her head to get to stuff.
Oh my God.
And it makes it a little worse because that person was also barefooted, which will come up in gross.
Oh, okay. I mean, it was already deeply disrespectful, but now it's also super weird.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Gross.
That's absolutely
in general. If there is any way that you can walk around someone's station to get to the thing that you need, please do that. This also could potentially be a safety consideration as well. You have no idea what they're about to do or where they're about to rapidly pivot. And if you get punched in the face with a dumbbell because somebody's doing like a chop, that's on you. That's on you.
Yeah. And so much of this can be resolved with minimal communication.
Right.
It can be hand signals. I get it if people are wearing headphones and all that stuff. It can be a wave down. It's like, I'm going to go over there. Are you using that kind of thing? And maybe they take their headphones off, maybe not. But usually it's like, oh, go ahead. Or I didn't mean to be in the way. Overwhelmingly, gym goers are respectful to each other.
Right.
And a little communication can solve all of this. Stepping over someone with their eyes closed is madness.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
I was going to say gross, which leads us into gross. Here we go. Gross. Pooping in a single bathroom and not running the fan or using any kind of spray. If there are both of those things available. If there are not, that's on gym management.
And I would make a request to gym management.
Right.
Like, that's such an easy thing to solve.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, single bathrooms, lots of gyms aren't that big. You are ruining the experience for people.
I will also say, too, as a coach who used to coach a lot of really early morning classes, if you know that you're going to have to poop 5 minutes into class, can you please arrive 10 minutes before class and like hop on the bike for a couple minutes to get things moving so that we're
Drink that coffee half an hour earlier, bud.
Right. So that we're not waiting for you to finish pooping so that I can move from strength to Metcon.
Oh my God. I know you've had this because we both coached a lot of CrossFit.
Right.
And I can picture the like 3 or 4 biggest offenders in my mind right now. But getting ready to start a Metcon, like, I've explained, we've demoed, equipment is set. You're like, all right, last chance, anyone need anything? And one person in a 19-person class is like, hold on, I need to go to the bathroom. Like, all right, John, I've been, I was really proud of my clock management, and I've got 18 minutes left to do a 15-minute AMRAP because I'm running a little close. And now I'm stressing over how long you're going to take. And now 18 people are just standing around, talking to each other and waiting and watching. And people are like listening for a toilet to flush so they can like get ready again. And
Right.
Just
people like you can see somebody like twisting their wrist wraps, like the person who doesn't know how to wait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. People. And like once in a while, like nothing's avoidable 100% of the time.
Right.
But the people who I was like, he's going to do this twice this week, every week, are so predictable.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of poop, people wearing dirty or poop soiled shoes into the gym.
Oh my God.
So this came up from some folks who live in more rural places.
Okay, sure. Yep.
And I would say a very easy solution to this is to have street shoes and gym shoes. And I recognize that that's an unpopular opinion. And it's also a really nice way to avoid that altogether.
And as someone who lives mostly in the Northeast, this comes up all the time in the winter. Yeah, I bet you guys have this too.
Yeah,
with like
with the salt.
rock salt and stuff. People track it in and it destroys gym floors. And it's not pleasant to be on. And it's not it's not clean. Like, no.
Right.
Yeah. If anything that's going to be dirty, you have separate shoes for that and separate shoes for the gym. That's totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Also gross, not wearing deodorant.
Big problem. I've had people who like don't seem to clean their gym clothes. You're like, oh, are you leaving this shirt in the cubby? And every time you come in, you put on your workout shirt and you take it home once a month. And like, I don't know what's going on, but I see you always in this shirt and I can smell you from here. And now I have to have this conversation.
Right. There's no, as a coach or a gym owner, no like tactful way to say like, hey, you're smelly.
Yeah. It's such an unpleasant conversation.
It's such an unpleasant conversation. Please don't make us do it. Please just.
If you're not sure if you need to wear deodorant, just wear deodorant.
Yeah.
Just do it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, what's the downside?
Fine. It's totally fine. This is a little bit of a tangent, but I just personally switched back to an aluminum deodorant after years of trying to find an aluminum-free version that didn't leave me either smelly or with a rash, and said, nope, I'm done. I can't do it.
I have also gone on this journey. What I'm putting out is too strong for the cool hippie green organic people aren't there yet. And none of these talc, brown bee, sap based versions can handle what I'm emitting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, we got to talk about some foot stuff. You ready? Barefoot in common areas, but most especially like bathrooms, showers, steam rooms, saunas. Gross.
The earlier cleanliness discussion. Like, what
Right.
are you doing? And you're
Right.
making it worse for everyone else.
Right. The data speaks for itself. Almost 40,000 colony forming units per sample. Yeast, staph, mold. Just wear your flip flops, please.
Yeah. It's gross watching you do it. Please don't make me watch you do it.
Right. Right. And then maybe the grossest example that we got that is also related to feet. One person in particular watched somebody dip their bare feet into a communal chalk bucket and then deadlift.
I'm speechless. That doesn't happen very often. Okay. Yeah. I've never heard of anything like that. That's almost entirely pointless, first of all. If you're going to do something like that, there's better ways to do it. Grab like your little rock of chalk and cover your feet with that, and then throw that rock out. It doesn't go back in the bucket.
Right. No, just like raw dog dipped bare feet into communal chalk bucket in a powerlifting gym situation. That's
not just like get out of the gym. That's like, we're going to have to drug test you, man. Like, we have to figure out what's going on because this isn't a rational decision. So we're all worried about you.
Right. Right. And then on the topic of chalk, a couple of things that I like dabbled with where should these go, but said, let's just put them with the other chalk stuff. Mm-hmm. Intentionally making it rain chalk.
Yeah. You're not LeBron.
And
there's only one. Stop it.
Right. And knocking over the chalk bucket, just kind of across the board. Be aware of your surroundings. Do not knock over the chalk bucket. Don't do it. It's terrible for everyone.
Yeah. It's awful. It's a huge mess. It's expensive. And that's spatial awareness, right? That's like looking at your field of failure. Like, oh, if I were to drop this or this lift were to go imperfectly, what are some ways it could go wrong?
And then an example that was a late addition, because someone I had breakfast with this morning, I was telling her about this podcast. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, this gross thing happened to me once. She works adjacent to a gym and was stepping into the communal gym to train client. And there was a piece of used gum on top of a bench. And so the implications of this are wild because either somebody put it there knowing I'm not going to use this again, and the trash can that is 10 paces that way is too far away for me to throw it away. Or the nastier, I'm going to use this again, and so I'll put it on top of this bench on which somebody sweaty sat and maybe didn't wipe it down.
And no version of that works for me. That's
foul.
Ugh.
Foul.
And then so someone had to find it, which is also like so disrespectful.
Right. Yeah. Ugh. She sent it to the owner of the gym with just the word seriously.
Yeah. That's probably going to be a whole other show of like stuff I've seen in a gym as a coach / gym owner / like, this is going to blow your mind. This thing happened once.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's gross.
That was gross. I'm glad we got through that. Should we move on to movement?
Let's move on to movement. And I have my own opinions about this that I'd like to tell you the grievances people submitted, and then we'll get into the hot take about it. People without custom needs following a custom program in a group fitness environment, right? Like imagine it's a place that supplies group training. Mm-hmm. And there's somebody who is paying for open gym.
Right.
Or maybe is also paying for class access.
Right.
And then they are doing a competitive program when there is live coaching available to them.
This is a whole bucket we can open.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been on both sides of this before.
Likewise. Yeah. I think the thing that comes up for me here is, let's use the classic example, which is CrossFit.
Sure.
Right. You're attending and paying to attend a CrossFit gym. Mm-hmm. And then you're doing some other CrossFit programming in that space.
Yes.
That rubs me a little like, why?
Interesting. Because I think it's perfectly justified. And
Why?
well, I kind of step back to value and maybe marketing and sales here. Like if you have someone in your class they've come to your location, they've bought a membership, they've been with you for some period of time, they've been exposed to your class, your coaching, and their programming, and then made the decision that they need something else, they need more, they need different. Whose fault is that?
Right.
Have you not shown them? And this is especially with newer CrossFitters and newer/younger CrossFitters. This is classic because the nature of the CrossFit is a little bit of everything, right? It's ostensibly, general preparedness fitness.
Right.
So
Master of none stuff.
You're not going to squat the best you could squat because you're also running in pull-ups and all, but you're doing all of these things and trying to get pretty good at all of the fitness so you can hold your own at all of the fitness. And different things progress at different levels.
Right.
So inevitably, usually the things I would see first are either gymnastics or absolute strength. Right. People are like, I just need to squat and deadlift more. I want to get strong fast. Everyone's stronger than me.
Right.
I need to bolt a squatting program onto my CrossFit, or I can't do muscle ups. I can't do handstands. I need to do, and everyone told me it takes 10,000 reps. So I need to bolt a gymnastics specialty program onto my CrossFit. And now they're bolting 3 things onto another program. They sail way over their capacity, get hurt, and now they're frustrated and not strong. So sometimes it can just be a straightforward, slightly challenging conversation with that person saying, hey, I noticed you're doing 3 different things. How come? Because our job is to get you where you want to go. When you showed up, someone told you we could help you achieve your goals. So if you're doing all these other things, I feel like I'm dropping the ball. So tell me what you're after, and we might be able to deconstruct this and either tell you how to approach the classes in a more effective way, or maybe you should be doing something else. Actually, we're not going to be doing a ton of like long endurance work, and you also want to do a half marathon. I would suggest a running progression like this. And if you want to buy it from someone, you're welcome to. And you should focus on classes that have these kinds of movements.
Right. Yeah.
But I've absolutely had people come in, and especially when they're disrespectful, but like take over a ton of space with a big complicated comp program, and they're in everyone's way, and they're making a bunch of noise, and they're a huge distraction. And all of the people in group class are looking over and being like, well, if that person is doing something else, maybe I should be doing something else. And it can really detract from everyone's experience.
Right. And I've been on both sides of this coin as well. And there's an argument that comes up, not all the time, but enough, of if I were a gym owner, would I permit coaches to follow other programming? And the answer, I don't know. It depends, I think. I think the intent behind this submission of people without custom needs following a competitive program, we had a nice conversation about it. And I think their intent was more, hey, this person is coming in at a group class time when they could take group class programming. And instead they're doing something like hard work pays off or Mayhem compete.
Yeah.
Right. Why? When like this is
someone else's group template programming, by the way.
Right, exactly. When particularly I think it grinded this particular person's gears because the people that they say doing it are not people who are competitive athletes themselves, right? Like they're not going to semifinals, they're not going to the games. And so like, why can't you just do group class? Why do you believe that it's not good enough for you?
And that might be a gym culture kind of thing, because I've been a group class member when other people were doing like weird comp stuff at the same time, and it sucked. It was distracting. It was weird.
Yeah.
I was kind of watching what they were doing. As a gym owner, I wouldn't allow it. No, class happens at class time.
Right.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
And then there's open gym time where people can do all kinds of cool stuff. And if I say it's open gym, then it's open gym. You can have rules or whatever, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But yeah, and I think that goes toward what I think that the spirit of this discussion is not making the group experience shitty for other people. Not, how dare you pay Mayhem $29 a month? I should get that $29 a month. Like, no, it's kind of fine if you want to do something else. You're a grown up, but you can't come in and make my product worse by doing
Right.
someone else's thing.
Right. That's right. That was a great discussion. Love it. As always, nuance, it depends.
Yeah.
Is usually the answer.
Inevitably.
Next one, movement itself. Momentum when it isn't necessary.
Yep.
Mhm.
Again, there's a lot of nuance here, but I mean, are we
Correct.
talking about like quote unquote cheat reps?
Yes. And like, hey, why are you kipping your curls? You don't need to do that.
Yeah. Why are you kipping
When
your pull-ups?
also, right.
I'm just saying.
But I think too, we never know what somebody is actually training for. And then the last one.
This is another one I've come like around the horn on.
Sure.
Where like didn't know. I was like ultra strict ROM technique, pure like we can miss fine details of making the movement perfect. And now I've come around to not everybody, but in the right situation on your chest supported incline dumbbell row, the last 2 or 3 reps, you should probably have to use a little momentum because your back is so strong. The only way to like actually get some hypertrophy there is to push that limit. And we're not going to be able to do it with quote unquote perfect movement all the time. But of course there's a lot of nuance in there. A little bit of wiggle versus, ridiculous bouncing your torso moving 30 degrees with every rep are very, very different things.
Right. Or like, are you worming your push-ups? And if so, why? Could you please stop?
Do you even realize you're doing it? Which is a whole other thing. People, like think they're doing gorgeous work and you show them like, oh, your reason this isn't getting better is because you don't even realize how much momentum you're putting in this thing.
Right. Right. And then the last one is not moving to standard when you have the capacity and the ability to do so.
And when there's a standard.
Right. Right. And so my hot take on this category is that it's people being judgmental about things that don't affect them.
And they have no idea. Inevitably. Like the idea that a rep doesn't count is only true in an actual competition.
Right.
And if it's a competition and there's rules, then you have to abide by the rules, right? The ball didn't go through the basket, that you don't get 2 points. It bounced off the rim. It was a beautiful shot, buddy. I'm not saying it wasn't, but it didn't happen.
But it didn't happen.
If we're squatting, you don't know, one, what someone's available range of motion is. You have no idea what their injury history is. You don't know what they're doing. I've programmed tons of quarter squats in my life because we're working on top range lockout or neurological capacity, or there's lots of reasons people are doing quarter squats.
Right.
Because that's what they're supposed to be doing, man. Don't keep your eye on your work. Don't worry about it. And do not walk over. If you are both gym members, do not walk over and make a suggestion.
Right.
Ever. That might be a whole other show too. Like,
this leads us, I think, really nicely just right on into unnecessary contact. Are you okay with that?
Totally.
People who help.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it. And then the caveat to that are creepy or pushy with their help and don't really want to take no for an answer.
So we're talking about men.
Yeah. I have a former client who graduated from working with me one-on-one and was training on her own in a corporate gym. Mm-hmm. She was deadlifting. And a man approached her and said, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. That looks really easy. You should add some weight. Like, you're looking really good and really strong. Add some weight. And she said, haha, thanks. I don't know what to say now. And he continued to push and was like, no, like this is not what you're capable of. And, if you want to keep moving the needle, blah, blah, blah. And what this person was not aware of is that this former client was working with me because she had cancer and had a pretty significant part of the musculature behind her leg removed. And it was kind of a miracle that she was able to full range deadlift at all. And she shouldn't have to tell you, yeah, I haven't been here for a while because I had cancer and almost died. And it's incredible that I'm lifting this 155 pounds to full range, period. Right?
Yeah. See, earlier, you have no idea what someone's working on.
No idea.
You have no idea what someone's gone through. You don't know anything about where they are or what's happened. Like, there's lots of reasons it could be happening.
Right.
Well, here's so minor digression because I'd like your opinion on this.
Okay.
Because as a, I'm 6 feet. I have a beard. I have some muscles. I'm 230 pounds of all American beef. I look like this walking through a gym. I don't say anything to anybody, save maybe if there's a safety concern.
Right.
But on occasion, I'll see someone do something I think is kind of impressive. Pretty hesitant to say anything about it at all. I am far more hesitant if it's someone who is female presenting because I don't want to be this creep. Right. If I come by, you do some deadlifts, I'm like, hey, fist bump. That was great. Solid work. And walk away.
Right.
Still too much contact? I've never done it. But I've been like, that was so great. I want to build this person up if they're open to being built up. But there's so much potential downside. I just never do it.
Right. I, as a female presenting female, don't like men I don't know to approach me anywhere for any reason.
Yeah. And that's part of it. Like, you see me lumbering in the mirror. I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this going to be?
Right. What now? Right.
Are you going to tell me about your podcast, bro? No, it's with a lady. She's really nice. Yeah. That has been my opinion. And I've literally never done it. But I have been like, very occasionally, if I'm going to a gym and there's regulars and we kind of, those regulars who you don't know their name, but they're all there at the same time. You kind of like nod. Like, that might get like a thumbs up from across the gym. Okay, thought that was good. Right. That's as far as I'll go.
That's okay. And I think it becomes different immediately when we're in any kind of a group environment.
Totally. Agreed.
Right. Like, even my partner and I play pickleball a couple of times a week. And I don't know most of the other players' names, but we're like, damn, nice serve, right? That becomes immediately different than, hey, we're both doing our own things in this group environment.
Yeah, exactly. Because the pickleball, like, you've all agreed, we're doing this together. We're playing together. You know each other's names. Pickleball. There's been like, this is what's happening. Right. There's supposed to be some exchange here. It would be way weirder if no one spoke the whole time. Like, that would get uncomfortable. But the other side of it, imagine? Like, oh yes, I can. I can, like, with the right kind of people. You're like, oh God, all these people showed up trying to face their loneliness epidemic, and we're all on the same team. Good. Great.
Okay, so to this tune as well, unnecessary contact. Let's add unnecessary eye contact.
Yep. Leering, peeking, staring.
If we lock eyes, particularly this has happened to me a couple of times when I'm doing something like pull-ups or chin-ups, and I feel like I'm in a fishbowl already, and there will be somebody like on the adductor machine right in front of me, like
just staring you down.
And it's possible that they're like looking past me and listening to something, but my God, it's like terrifying.
Yeah. They might not be looking at you, right? And there's been plenty of like social media fueled dust ups of people like filming a guy walking by who like glances in their direction. Like, can you imagine this dude staring at me? Like, well, that guy wasn't. But actually, if you look 2 guys behind him, that guy hasn't moved his eyes in 3 minutes, and I think we found the real creep. So yeah, just don't like, everyone's there just trying to do their own thing. Let them do their own thing.
Right. To the point of doing your own thing. Toxic masculinity. Or competing unnecessarily in a non-competitive space.
Yep. Huge problem.
Yeah. And adjacent to this, playing chicken, which I actually personally really like to play chicken with traditional gym bros.
Can you give an example?
Yes. We are walking and I am on a path and gym bro comes in on the same path. I'm not going to move. You can run into me. You can move.
Yeah. I immediately take the outside path. I'm wide. I'm aware of how much space I kind of take up in relation to other things. So I will always, like, if I spot someone coming, like, go to a side and then declare my path. Like, I am over here and I am deliberately out of the way, but I'm moving on a line this way. And if you're the only time it doesn't work if someone's like staring at their phone and weaving,
Right.
And then I'll just kind of slow down until they walk into me. Hey, excuse me, sorry. Yep, I've been moving in this line, trying to be out of your
Right.
way, and it's very hard to get out of your way.
Right. Because you're not walking any sort of predictable path. Right. No, I'm speaking specifically to like the dudes who would define themselves as alpha.
Yeah.
Like carrying a gallon of water, and they've probably got some type of headband on, and like intentionally in my way, I will let them hit me.
Yeah. Trying to, like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to clear a path?
Right.
What are you proving? What will this person getting out of the way? Yeah. Does that make you feel better? Can you imagine like how hurt and how much pain and how small someone like that must feel that this is the kind of thing they're reaching for?
Right.
And that's going to make them feel better? Like,
everybody that I walked towards at the gym got out of my way. I'm such an alpha. Like,
no, people want to stay away from you. You present as a problem. Like, I'm not worried about getting in a fight. Not really. Like, if I'm avoiding you, that means you're someone who looks like they need to be avoided. Not that I'm afraid of you. I don't want to.
I'm not afraid of you. I just have no interest at all in sharing any amount of space with you.
No. Yeah.
But I will quite literally let them run into me.
Slightly related to this is the guys who can't manage to keep their shirt on, especially in an environment where like that isn't the standard. Like, hey, bro, this is a Planet Fitness. Why do you have your shirt off and you're sweating and screaming? And like, I've watched you. I don't know where you are. I don't know your injury history. I don't know what you're working on, but you don't appear to be working that hard. This is crazy. Right.
Or the guy who loses his shirt in the warm-up, like in the middle of November.
I'm glad that is going well. This isn't the way to do it.
This isn't the way to do it. This isn't the way to do it. I do want to be clear, though, that that's not us like nitpicking at people who have like tactile or sensory issues. If that's true for you, please wear whatever you're comfortable with. But if you enjoy and have the capacity to wear a shirt, please wear a shirt.
Yes, 100%. And like it gets hot. I've been in gyms in the South in summertime, and like sometimes at the standard, or people are wearing a lot less. There's like sports bras and half tank tops and all that. Like, I get it. Pick the environment, read the room. If everyone else is clothed, you probably shouldn't be getting mostly naked.
Right. I think this brings up something else that was actually not submitted, and I'm kind of surprised by it, but I think it's worth talking about, is when people who present as female are wearing little clothing at the gym and moving their bodies, that is not an invitation to speak to them about their body.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I
don't think we need to say anything else about that.
Shorts and a sports bra is perfectly acceptable workout attire.
Right.
It's fine. And you don't require visible abs to be allowed to wear that stuff.
Right. That's right. Yeah. That's right. And you're not inviting commentary, good or bad. You're just existing in a fitness space in the clothing that felt good to you in that day.
Yeah. If you want to socialize with people and talk about stuff, you should do it. Like, join a group environment. Mm-hmm. Go to a CrossFit, go to a run club, go to an Orange Theory. Like, you'll end up talking to people, and then maybe they can say, "Oh, I really like those shorts. They look comfortable. What are those? You got to get on a waiting list to get Fleos now because it's weird." Oh, cool. That's interesting.
Do you really? Is that true?
It used to be. Once upon a time, it was true. I heard people who were like on a waiting list to get like so-and-so colorway or so thing. I was like,
yeah,
they're shorts? Like, no, but they're great. And they're so comfortable. It's like, okay, like people like what they like.
Okay. All we've got left is poor coaching.
Sweet. The one to go out on.
2 subcategories: Space Cadet and Poorly Informed.
Cool.
Space Cadet, poor coach management of class, right? Not related to Steve deciding to take a dump 2 minutes before 15-minute AMRAP.
Yeah. There's only so much you can do.
Right. But there were a few people who, like, it really hurt my heart as a coach to read that they had been kind of consistently forgotten about in class. Mm-hmm. And coach would move on to something else, whether it's from strength to Metcon or, hey, I'm turning the music down and starting to make like a clean your shit up announcement. And there are people still working. Like, how terrible. I mean, that just sucks the air out of the room for that athlete. As a coach, part of your job is to not be a space cadet and to be aware of the things that are going on in your group environment, even and especially for newer people.
It's incredibly important. And I
Right.
think, especially in this group environment we're talking about, I think it starts and ends with time management. Because if you do that right, you have room to do all of the other things.
Right.
Like a lot of what you just described sounds to me is like, oh, that they realize they're falling behind. They realize that, you know, the next class is supposed to start in 90 seconds.
Right.
And there's still barbells out and people are hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to, you know, all right, time to clean up, because not because that's the appropriate thing to be doing,
Right.
but because I ran out of time.
Right.
And if you handle that properly, then it's easy. A subcategory of this is sort of more intermediate to advanced or really strong athletes not getting any attention. You know, a new person comes in or a drop in, or just like, you know, there's 3 people who are less experienced in the class. They are going to get more attention, and that's appropriate. But the person who's been with you for 6 years and you know they're good and you know they're fine, that person's still trying to get better. They would love it for you to come and like micromanage their squat a little bit.
Right.
Like, hey, have you noticed you do this? I've seen you squat thousands of times, and I only recently noticed that you started doing this. Is there a reason? Is something going on?
Right.
They still want to be coached. You are the coach. Do some fucking coaching.
Right. Particularly if you are a coach who coaches in a group environment who also either has or would like to have personal clients, that's a beautiful way to get them.
Yeah. Demonstrate your expertise.
Right.
You're there. And forgetting people is just completely unacceptable.
Right. Completely. I am sorry to the folks that has happened to. If any of y'all are listening, I wish that I could have been the coach that didn't do that to you. Unacceptable. Next up in Space Cadet. Lots of just like, can't believe we have to say this to people who are fitness professionals, but things like eating during class or sessions, shirtless, on your phone. And we're not talking about like, hey, there have been instances where I'm waiting for a really important phone call from, like, let's say my kid's doctor or their school, and I know that there's a chance it's going to come through during class. I'll actually make an announcement about that at the beginning of class. Hey, gang, I don't like to have my phone on me while I'm coaching, but I'm expecting an important call. And so if you notice me step aside to take a call, I will be right back. This is what I'm doing. Right?
All of those are insane.
Insane. One person submitted that there was a coach that worked at the gym that they attend, and the person who submitted it is a fitness professional as well, who was both shirtless, barefoot, and eating while taking a session.
Like, how checked out do you have to be to think that's appropriate? You're paying so little attention and you care so little about the presentation of what you're doing.
Right.
Can you imagine if there was a camera and this was being broadcast to the world? Is this how you would show up? Oh, no? Well, why is that? Okay, so these people don't matter. But if other people could see this, that would matter. Okay, you just told us what you think about your clients and your job.
Right. Yeah.
There's a gym I go to now, and I watched a trainer. There's a part, I've already canceled my membership because there's a lot of things I don't like about this place. You know, they have a big kind of universal multi-cable rack where there's like 10 different things. It's this giant metal structure in the middle. And one of the things they have is an adjustable jump platform. Have you seen these? Where it's a step and you can set it.
It's called an outrace.
Yeah. They have one of those. I've been going to this gym for a few months. It has always been set at the same height and always has laptops, food, and drinks on it. It has become a trainer's table and is never anything else. And that's infuriating because I'd like to use it sometimes.
Right.
And I have also watched a trainer spot a client bench press, redirect the bar, walk over, take the lid off a Tupperware, eat like 5 or 6 bites of like a tuna salad, cover it back up again, no hand washing, no nothing, with his mouth full, giving instructions as he walks back to the bench.
I'm having a visceral reaction.
That might have been the day I sent my cancellation email. I can't even be around this kind of behavior. It's just making me so upset.
That's gross. Yeah. That's foul. No, I hate it. In general, we would call these, like, at best, distracted with clients.
Yeah, just at best distracted. And there's reasons for everything. It looks incredibly unprofessional.
Right.
Don't expect to be taken seriously.
Right. I've also got a pet peeve about if you're a coach delivering a session and the programming app that you use on your phone. Hate it. Hate it.
I bought an iPad
Yeah.
just for that.
I did the same.
The only thing that iPad does is call up. I use TrueCoach. Call up TrueCoach.
Yeah.
The only thing it does. But when I'm walking around with an iPad with a keyboard on it,
Yeah.
it is very clear that I'm not scrolling on my phone.
Right.
Also, because it's bigger, you can see from across the room kind of what I'm doing. You might not be able to read the program. Like, oh no, that's a program. He's definitely not like liking photos.
Right.
He's doing a program thing.
Right. It could be totally legitimate and not at all nefarious and totally focused. And also, the message it sends is icky, distracted.
It's awful. And if you're a coach listening to this, like jumping up and down about how iPads are expensive, you don't want to buy one, that's fine. Put it in a notebook. Write down the program and walk around with a notebook and write down your results and log it later. Or anywhere in between. There's, other tablets are available. We're not sponsored yet. Apple, yet. We're not sponsored yet. But when you're looking at your phone, everyone assumes you're doing something else.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Right. And in a pinch, if you have a laptop, that is a suitable next step. But please don't put it on top of a communal box that somebody might like to use.
That's a the trainer's table becomes a thing, right? Like half of the reverse hypers I've ever seen are just drink holders now because it's a big flat space. And is it the best investment? Maybe not. But don't turn pieces of exercise equipment into your table. Just carry it around, put it down, move on.
That's an interesting one that didn't come up. Don't set your shit down where it shouldn't be set down. Yeah.
I've seen that. And sometimes it's unconscious, but like someone puts their water bottle down on everyone's favorite bench press station. Right. And then wanders away and they just forgot about it. But there's three people like sitting around waiting for their favorite bench. And they don't realize that person might have left and just forgot their water bottle. And they don't even know what's going on because they used it as a table. I do that on the regular. In fact, just this morning, I had to drive to the gym to pick up this water bottle. You went back for it? That is true. Yeah, I went back for it. I left it up on the music station yesterday. Well done getting it again. Thank you. And again, like these things happen to a degree. Like, there's things that should never happen. But recognizing like that it's shirtless. Just accidentally wandered in barefoot shirtless to get your water bottle. Like, so sorry, everyone. Recognizing that it's poor etiquette will keep you from making a lot of these mistakes. Right. And or hearing us talking about it, maybe someone's heard something and they went, oh, I didn't realize that was a problem, but I guess it's a problem. Right. Like if you're somebody listening to this and say, man, I really resonate with accidentally staring at somebody when I'm zoning out listening to my fanfic while I'm doing leg press. This is an opportunity for you to be aware of your surroundings and not accidentally freak out a stranger. Yeah, exactly. And the staring thing, you're doing something very unusual or very remarkable. There's a higher likelihood you're going to get stared at. Right. The other day in the little like stretching/boxing class area of this gym I was going to, which is at this time open, it's kind of long and narrow and has mirrors on one side. I was doing some headstand work because I love doing inversion work. So I was doing headstand holds into headstands with knee tucks into like some pike leg lowering stuff for like ab stability. That is interesting and unusual and a little weird, especially from someone like me doing it. So when I stopped and there was a dude at the other end of the area just kind of like ogling at me, I wasn't asking for it, but I'm not surprised. We had a totally cool 5-minute discussion about progressions and stuff like that. Sure. So like, if you're doing the shirtless L-sit, flutter kick, muscle up routine, someone's going to notice and that's okay. That doesn't mean you need to be leered at. That doesn't mean they should follow you around. Right. But someone noticing something unusual is just someone noticing something unusual. Right. We're wired for that. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Last piece of poor coaching, which I kind of struggled to name this. And so maybe you'll be able to come up with a better name. I named it poorly informed. And so the first one is a real bee in my bonnet.
tactile cueing without consent.
Ooh, absolutely not.
Which let's break that down for somebody who maybe doesn't know what that means. That means you are in either a session or class environment, and coach comes over and puts hands on your body somewhere to cue you to do something differently without having asked for permission to do that first.
Completely unacceptable. Unacceptable
Completely.
in any context, save maybe safety. If you're falling over and I catch you, that's about it. Nothing else is...
Right.
No, it's a huge problem. And it's the simplest ask ever. And I used to coach a lot of gymnastics, like adult gymnastics, like small G, not competitive, but like, we're going to do some weird stuff. We're going to learn some backflips and handsprings and really challenging gymnastics progressions and things like that. And people who have been in the class for 2.5 years and come twice a week, every week for 2.5 years would go to do a handstand, like, hey, I'm going to spot you around your waist and on your thighs. Is that cool? Yes. Good. That's the whole conversation.
It's that easy.
We had that conversation every single time.
Right.
Because it shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Ever.
Because yes once doesn't mean yes always.
Yeah. And it's also a safety concern. Like, it's disrespectful. It's gross. Too often, it's when it happens. It's like, hey, bud, that's so interesting that you gave that nice person that cue. I notice you don't do that to me. Now, why is that? Why don't I get those cues, but that person gets those cues? I think maybe you just wanted to put your hands on that person, and that's really gross. But it can also surprise someone. If I'm like fighting for something and you decide to spot me around my waist, which is also crazy and not how you spot people, but I might just drop the bar if I'm not expecting it to happen.
Right.
That could be it's a huge problem.
Right. And then the last under poorly informed is lack of situational and spatial awareness as a trainer and a coach, right? When it's okay to superset on machines or areas and when it isn't. When and where it's appropriate to set up a station, particularly if you're in an environment where there are people working out on their own and then also people working out with trainers. And I've personally encountered this a couple of times, and it makes me crazy when a coach is not aware of what's going on around them.
And how much space they're taking up and how much I had this back to this gym that I'm not going to be a member of anymore. But I walked in and a trainer had set up a squat rack, a trap bar, a landmine, an incline bench, and all of those things had weight on or around them that were set up to do something. They were at the other end of the room doing TRX rows. But had declared a huge swath of area basically not for use. Now, why would you set things up this way? You're in an environment where there's members using it, where it's open gym, where there's other trainers working. Like, being aware of the area of impact you're having is really important. And I write programs that way. I wrote programs partly for the logistics of the place I'm working in.
Right.
If it's one-on-one and I have the whole gym, we're going to take over. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. I might set up a complicated circuit. I won't do that in like a 24-hour gym setting because it's such poor etiquette. Right.
Yeah. I've had, this might come as a surprise to you or to anyone listening, but I'm actually not a very big complainer outwardly. I really don't like airing a grievance. And this is the only time I've had to complain at a gym recently or felt compelled to complain at a gym was this particular issue. There was one trainer in particular who was consistently setting up sessions with like a small group, 2 to 4 athletes, and encroaching on a very small space that I'd already set up to the point where both times I had to pivot what I was doing. And we're not talking about, hey, I've got a bunch of complicated equipment set up, but we're talking about, hey, I've got a rower and a pair of dumbbells behind it. And this person decides that, hey, we're going to sled push right behind. Fuck your dumbbells. Okay, cool. Great.
It's so crazy, especially trainer to trainer. I just ask.
Right.
And I don't want to interrupt someone mid-lift or something, but I'll notice most trainers also want to play nice and they understand what you're doing.
Right.
Like, hey, I have sled pushing coming up. I was going to push here. Are you guys going to use this space? We can do it a different order or something, but this is something I'd like to do.
Right.
And I would say, oh, thanks for the heads up. There's nowhere else you could push a sled, so I'm going to set up over here.
Right.
Or actually, we need 10 minutes, which is also acceptable. And they can say, great, I'm going to do something else before we sled push.
Right. Correct.
And this is real life.
Right. So in this particular instance, the thing that I went with was, hey, I'm going to move this rower so that I'm out of y'all's way. And the answer was, oh, you're not in our way. And so I said, let me be clear. I need to use the dumbbells that are immediately behind my rower as well that you've moved. So I'm going to move both of those because you're actually in my way now. And he was like, whoa, what? And then it happened again with the same trainer and a group of athletes that on a day that I was squatting, and they moved so close to my squat station, took my box and put their like gallons of water on it, and were so close to me that if I would have unracked the bar, I would have like bonked one of them in the noggin. Didn't even acknowledge me. And so that was the day that I complained. It was like, lack of situational awareness with this particular trainer. I can't take it.
Again, like no awareness, no respect.
Right.
So selfish, so ridiculous.
Just notice.
Yeah.
And totally, I was right next to the only Smith machine in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to use that. And that is the only thing left in your program. Hey, I just wanted to let you know, we're going to be using the Smith machine. There's 4 of us. We're going to do our best to respect your space, but we are going to be like pretty confined right here.
Yeah.
Great.
Just a heads up is enough.
Right. Totally. I don't need you to change your things. I've been that coach in that environment too, where there's people everywhere and you got to find a way to make it work. All it takes is saying something.
Yeah. And then we can have a pleasant discussion,
Right.
probably both slightly compromise in a way that isn't going to affect where we're going, but make everyone's life better. Because also, like, especially coaches, but anyone who's doing, following a program in a gym, other people notice how you behave.
Right.
It's someone's first time in a gym. It's someone visiting. There's people watching you, especially if you're like an intermediate or advanced gym goer. People notice that you're good at stuff, and they start watching how you do things to figure out how they should do things.
Right.
And if you're being rude and not respectful and all of that, you're making more little rude gremlins. Stop it.
Right. This certainly not to like claim us as the authority on coaching, because there's certainly places that we could both develop, but at the place where I coach, the group athletes actually know, hey, don't interact with me when I'm in a session. Like I won't even pay attention at all. I will maybe give you like in a rest break for the client, but this is not your time.
Yeah.
This person is paying for my time and my focus, and they're going to get it.
Yep. I've worked in environments with lots of trainers, and sometimes you just have to set, well, this is my culture. I've been in things where like people are training and 2 or 3 trainers are like telling jokes and having conversation, and the clients are like kind of like, and they're liking it and they're joking around, and it's very social, but it's also a little inefficient. And I feel like it's a little unfocused. That they were having a great time. Their clients were over the moon. Everyone seemed happy. When people talk to me, they get, oh yeah, hi. And I'm immediately back to I won't ignore you. I will acknowledge you and go back to my session. And my client gets 100% of my focus. And very quickly, people don't try and joke with me. And they're not during a session. As soon as I'm out of a session, I can come right back and just say go birds 100 times or whatever we need to do at that moment. It's usually go birds.
I would imagine that happens less frequently now.
There's fewer go birds in Providence, Rhode Island. It's accurate. Not none, but fewer.
Fewer. Less. Okay, that concludes gym etiquette.
That was remarkable. That was expansive and deep, and I really enjoyed that.
Anything that you think we missed?
I don't think so. I bet if you're hearing this, we would like to hear from you. If there's other things we should dig into and discuss, because again, there's nuances and there's categories. I know there's things that particular bees that in particular bonnets. I'm sure we'll cover more as we go on through this show. But I would love to hear from other people about the things that drive you up the wall or that you think other people should know. Like, the rules that why doesn't everyone know this? Because it seems so obvious. Time for a segment. Weezy. You are an expert coach with years of experience, fitness, nutrition, rehab-related work. You are also, in my opinion, excellent at explaining the nuances and details that really matter around these areas.
Okay.
I am going to take that away from you. This is going to be fast. Weezy, welcome to the rating room. We are rating things. I'm going to throw out some popular trends, supplements, training methods, etc.
Okay.
You are just going to give me your brutally honest rating from 1 to 10. 10 being best to most useful, 1 being straight trash. Do you understand?
Is a 0 possible?
Yes, 0 to 10. Very fair.
Could I use like greater than 10 if I feel very strongly about it?
Yes. So let's say that there is a 0 to 10, but there might be an S tier and there is an A++ in the world. It might go up to 11.
Okay, great.
I also broke these up into categories. We have 3. First category, generally fitness. So I'm just going to tell you the thing. You give me a rating.
Great. Yeah.
Stretching before a workout.
2.
Pre-workout supplements.
Can I give context? Just rating.
Briefly, very briefly.
Coffee, 8.
Mm-hmm.
Other things, 4.
Kettlebell training for functional fitness.
I wish listeners could see my face. I don't know. That could be like a 6 or 7.
Fitness trackers and wearables for accountability.
For accountability, 10.
HIIT workouts for weight loss.
How many? Just in general.
HIIT workouts for weight loss.
4.
Working out fasted.
0. Negative. Blah.
Training to failure.
10. 11. 17.
Powerlifting for the general population.
7.
Walking.
Infinity.
Daily mobility work.
What does that mean to you? It just means daily mobility.
Daily mobility work.
5, but there's nuance.
Zone 2 cardio.
8.
Well done. That is the fitness category. I expected you to struggle more with having no nuance in there, so I'm already impressed. Second category, nutrition. Same rules. Intermittent fasting.
0.
Protein powders.
5.5.
Green supplements.
2.
Daily multivitamins.
This one I really struggle with without nuance. Let's say 5.
GLP-1s.
Also 5.
Artificial sweeteners.
The Maha crowd's going to come after me. Let's call it an 8.
Pre-made meal services.
10.
Fat burner supplements.
0.
Intuitive eating, pardon me.
4.
Seed oils.
I mean, I'm not hooking up a fire hose of seed oils to my body, but fuck. Blah. 4.
Low carb diets.
This is not fair. 3.
Creatine.
10.
Final category. I've generally classed this as recovery/rehab. Foam rolling.
8.
Cold plunge.
6.
Weight belts every time you lift.
0.
If it hurts, work around it.
0.
Red light therapy.
2.
Massage guns.
2.
Kinesiology tape.
4.
Cupping therapy.
4.
Joint supplements like glucosamine, collagen, kind of stuff.
3.
Compression clothing.
See, that's not fair because there's special use cases.
Compression clothing for recovery. This is the recovery category.
2 for recovery.
Barefoot shoes.
10.
Done and done. That was the rating room.
That was terrible.
See, I feel you seem to be in less pain than I had sort of expected and honestly hoped. I mean,
No,
I thought this was going to be a real challenge.
Maybe I'm just really good at masking pain. That was painful.
Well, it's one of the challenges we have so often, right? Which is,
right.
and this is a constant, I don't know if you have this, I suspect, but it's a struggle I constantly have on social media of if you just say something, this is good, this is bad. Neither of those are true because it always depends. However, being able to generalize can be really useful for people.
Right.
So hearing you go 0 on some things and 10 on some things was hopefully useful. We're definitely cutting some of that up and clipping it for social media because and if someone out there is more industrious, I don't know if you noticed you were doing it, but you were kind of getting higher pitched as you thought. So I'd say something, you'd be like, and then 2 questions later, you'd be like, if someone's better at music than I am, which is most people, you could construct a Weezy supercut. And if you send that to me, I will absolutely play it on the podcast.
I wonder if there's some like science behind vocal inflection and degree of discomfort.
I bet there's someone out there who has done things like this, or like a Chris Voss style of like,
Right.
used to negotiate hostage negotiators who would tell you like, oh, this timbre
Their
and this
pitch
tone
changed.
is actually really important.
So if any of you are watching, listening to this, and that's you, please let us know how uncomfortable it was.
Please rate Weezy's discomfort on a level from 1 to 10. You're allowed to go to 11 if you feel it's required.
This feels like a good time to say where you can reach us if you would like to do that. So you've been listening to, in case this is a massive surprise, Training Partners, where we talk about different things related to the training environment. If there is a topic that you are really interested in having us unpack, we would welcome that suggestion. We might not use it, but we would love the suggestion. Gang, thank you for tuning in to Training Partners, where two fitness professionals bring you strong takes held loosely. Again, I'm Weezy Shoemaker. You can connect with me at Coach Weez on Instagram. And I was joined by Justin McClintock. You can find him at Feel Strong Fit. We'll see you next time.
Here come your training partners, so smart, so strong, so funny. Let's go with your training partners. We're ready to shine.